Big Fork. 26-year-old Timmy Miles shot and killed about 5 Sunday morning at the Northgate Apartments, say police. They have not publicly discussed a motive, but say they do have 2 people in custody. In Grenada, Kentra Clay of Greenwood is under arrest, charged with forcing Batesville officers to chase him all the way to the Grenada exit on I-55 Monday night at speeds of 100 miles per hour at points. Clay hit a pole at the Grenada exit and is now in the hospital, but faces several charges in Batesville and Grenada County when he gets out. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them and do not necessarily reflect those of this radio station, its parent, affiliated, or related entities, agents, or employees.
Welcome to Crossing the Aisle, the daily show where politics and relationships collide. I'm Shaun, a Democrat who believes in building bridges.
And I'm Lindsey, a Republican who thinks he's building them in the wrong direction.
Every day we break down the biggest political stories from both sides, we challenge each other's views, and somehow we still sit down for dinner.
No shouting matches, no echo chambers. Just real conversations around the issues that divide us and the common ground we can sometimes find.
So whether you're here to debate, learn, or just hear how a politically opposite couple makes it work,
this is Crossing the Aisle.
Welcome into Crossing the Aisle with Shaun and Lindsey. Shaun, you all set over there?
I'm good to go.
Shaun, you know it's been in my head all day long.
Oh, God, I'm not sure I want to know, but what is it?
The boys are back in town.
Why?
Special session.
Oh.
They're all back. Our legislators are back.
That is the whitest thing you've ever said, you know?
Is
It's literally the white, yes.
Why?
Like, you're, what? They're talking about the legislators?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
They're my buddies over there. Well, some of them.
The boys are back in town. That's
boys
not
are
that's
back
not
in
what
town.
I think. I was going to have said the grift is back in town, but
no.
you know, that's I mean, why my questions are, why couldn't they get this done? Why they are actually here?
One word for you. Well, actually 3. Delbert the Democrat. There you go.
I'm sure everything is Delbert. I mean, I sort of got COVID was Delbert's fault.
I never
AIDS,
said,
whatever.
What
It's
are you
all.
talking
I
about?
mean, everything is.
Okay, you're just making stuff up now.
I'm just saying. I think they had time to get here. We paid them to be here. And,
paying them extra now.
Yeah, paying them extra now to be here because they couldn't get this done. But and it's a super majority of Republicans. They still couldn't agree. Like, you know, yeah.
Somebody sent me a picture of a hearse out front of the Capitol today, and I thought to myself, like, well, there you go. I mean, if Delbert passes out again, or if Jason White kills him inside the legislature, they're ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I'm kidding, everyone. I'm kidding.
That can certainly happen. You know, you never know. But I'm glad the whatevers are back in town. Hopefully they can get the job done and not cost us another week of taxpayer money, like next week or whatever.
Somebody else said they thought it was the whitest thing they'd ever heard too.
Thank you. It was so white. It was like so super white.
That's just the way I was made.
That's that's right. I guess that's a good point. So anyway, since y'all have heard the boys are back in town, nobody really cares. Hope they pass the budget. Blah blah blah. No one's gonna pay attention. Hopefully they get the budget.
But now it's gonna be stuck in everybody else's head for the rest of the day. You're welcome.
Yeah, I didn't even remember till this morning. I'm like, oh, they're back. Great. You know,
why do you sound so bummed about it?
Because I don't care.
I mean, maybe we'll like throw some extra special fun stuff in there, like a parental bill of rights or school choice bill.
It seems like this is something they should have. The budget's like one of the most important things they do. They could,
if not the most important.
Yeah, the most. I mean, they could have done this like during the actual session instead of, you know, passing bills like the first right swipe of Tinder Act or whatever. Like,
Shaun,
you know,
maybe
wipe against the first right swipe of Tinder, excuse me. Or whatever they do.
Maybe they will decide to pass a bill that makes you stay married forever and ever while they're at the special session.
Well, according to some people around, you know, you see that's going to be one of our big topics today is the divorce status in Mississippi and why we have the archaic law that we do have and why the government is trying to force you to stay in relationships.
This scares the mess out of Shaun, y'all.
Yeah.
He's a pro at divorce.
Actually, yes, I am. It's not that I handle divorce cases. I've just been personally been.
Don't call us if you want a divorce.
Yeah. And that's the thing I was going to say, you know, I think I get more calls about, because everybody thinks, I was meeting with a client this morning and everybody thinks that lawyers
do it all,
do everything, but they don't realize we're like doctors. Everybody's got their specialties. And I don't know a dang thing about divorce. I don't want to know, except for personally, but I don't want to know anything about how to handle a divorce. But I get more calls about that than I think I probably do about criminal cases half the time, because everybody wants a divorce and it's always this huge story with every one of them. I can't imagine doing that for a living, being a divorce lawyer and listening, because you basically have turned into like a counselor like an actual like therapist and deal with just the nonsense that this is. I mean, because as far as I know, and again, I'm not an expert on divorce law by any means, and please don't
Just
call
an
me
expert on divorce.
Yeah.
Himself.
But I mean, you're going to get what you get. You're going to
don't throw a fit.
You're going to get certain property distributions. If you've been married a long time and somebody hasn't worked for 20 years, you'll get alimony, and you're going to have to pay child support. I think there's a statutory guidelines for that, as far as I remember from law. This is way back in law school. So I mean, you're not
17% of the salary, I believe.
But they're spending thousands of dollars fighting over like the gold-plated hair dryer, and it's just sheer stupidity. But we'll get into all that.
Dan White said marriage is a bad drug. Just say no.
Yeah, I mean, and I didn't really realize this today, but according to ChatGPT,
can we really trust everything ChatGPT tells us?
Well, this is what it's told me, that the Mississippi is the only state where you have to have an agreement to get divorced, where you can't just get divorced. Like, you need like the other spouse to agree, which we have what's called reconcilable differences divorce, but both parties have to agree.
Irreconcilable.
Irreconcilable. Right? Sorry, see, that's how much I know. But of course, there's a fault-based grounds that everybody's got, but Mississippi requires.
So for irreconcilable, both parties have to agree. So if one party wants to stay married,
you can't get out of it unless you have a fault-based ground like desertion or adultery.
Habitual drunkenness.
Or is that one of them?
That's one of them.
I don't know. Or cruel and treatment. I thought it was one of them. Yeah, because I have so many people. I cannot tell you how many friends, people call me over the years and I can't get out of this thing. That person is just holding me here. And this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Why do we allow this? And every year the legislature talk about how useless they are. They put this bill in there to actually give a, basically I guess you would call a unilateral divorce, or you could just file divorce on your own, like in every other dang state. And then we sit here and it doesn't ever pass because all the Christian conservatives are like, oh my God, I mean, God would hate this. That's just ridiculous.
Obviously, I'm super ultra conservative and I'm very outspoken about that. But we talked about this for a long time last night. And I also am very much a believer in limited government. I want the government to stay out of my life as much as possible. So I don't understand, when did marriage become, and I'm conflicted on some things regarding this, but when did marriage become a contract with the state and government? Why is it not just a contract between the two people and God?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I've always argued for that. I don't think that the state has anything to do with your personal relationship, except for the care of minor children. The state needs to get involved there, and and property distribution. Those two things would be what the state needs to get involved for. You can see those two reasons. But other than that, whether you're married to somebody or you're not married to them, I don't know why the government has to.
Well, I have another issue where I wish they would get involved, and that is concerning life insurance, because some states have laws that if you are married or if you have children, your spouse or your child must be the beneficiary on your life insurance unless you have a physically written out a reason why they are not. And I think that's a really good thing to have in place, because those of you that don't know my story, I did lose my husband, and we had been married less than a year, and he had filled out the forms to change the beneficiary on his life insurance, but they had not been filed. And so therefore his mother was still the beneficiary, and she took the money and ran with it. And so his kids didn't get to see a penny of that money. So
Talk about somebody who's going to have a problem with God.
For real.
Somebody right there is going to have a problem with God.
It's taken me a long time not to get extremely angry anytime her name comes. Well, I guess I still.
I was telling my mom that story this past week, and she didn't know that story, and she was sitting there on the phone what?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
No, I'm serious. Her mother-in-law kept the money, and she had kids.
Every penny of it.
And she was like, "That's what?" I mean, I was like, "Yeah, I know. It's not like a Lifetime movie. This actually happened." And,
yeah,
it's so evil. You can't imagine.
You can't imagine anybody being that evil. But yeah. I mean, evil does exist in many, many forms.
Right. Well, I mean, I think the law is too, as far as I remember, that you can't cut your spouse out of the will. And the reason I think they did that way back when was because so many husbands hated their wives, so they would cut them out of the wills and then become wards of the state. That was a problem.
But you have to have a will. A lot of people don't have wills.
Yeah, then you die. What's called? Yeah, it's what intestate succession, I think, is what the legal term is. And but then I think the spouse gets a certain share under that formula. Again, not my area, but from what I remember from law school, that's the way it works. Now, if you kill somebody, call me. I can help you out.
But I mean, I think those laws concerning life insurance are really good to have, because it protects, like you said, children.
Yeah.
It protects that that person would be providing for is protected. They at least have some sort of income to these children to be provided for. Right. So, I mean, those are, and you and I've talked about this along with gay marriage. It's one reason why I am not so anti-gay marriage. I think it's wrong when what the Bible says is wrong. It's nothing I would ever choose. But at the same time, if this is the person you've chosen to spend your life with, and then something happens, and then their whole estate goes to someone that they never even saw or spoke to just because they're biologically related, that's where I have a problem with that. I mean, I think if this is the person they love, regardless of whether I believe it's right or wrong, that should be protected.
It's
like
free
their
will,
assets.
man. That's why I always say, who am I to judge anybody else's
Yeah,
relationship?
I don't have to answer to that. They do.
Yeah, I mean, and it's so funny too because we're in 10 years ago when a Boger fell. I can never pronounce that case. The Supreme Court case legalizing gay marriage came down. You have all these folks being like, oh, we're not going to do the marriages. We're not going to, and that's fine. It's your religious right. But then I always thought it's funny that we cast stones on that sin, but nobody says anything about adultery, which is. I mean, all sins are supposed to be the same, right? They're supposed to be the same.
That's what they say.
Okay, so but everybody's like, oh, we're not gonna talk about that. But it's really these gays getting married is a problem. I just that's where I deviate, Lindsay, from you on the conservative arguments because of things the hypocrisy I find in those things. But
some people say a sin is a sin is a sin, but I'm sorry. I don't think me speeding to get here on time is the same as me murdering someone.
Well, I would argue that adultery is far worse than gay marriage. And here's why. Because adultery affects somebody else and your whole family, destroys a whole family. It's evil in that context. Whereas gay marriage is only affecting 2 gay dudes or 2, lesbian women. I mean, it's only affecting them. So yeah, I think it's in terms of sin, I would give that higher ranking if we're ranking them.
Right before we went live, Shaun was telling me about a guy he met earlier today that was a gay guy and how good looking he was. I was like, don't say that.
That's not what I said. Not what I said.
I'm kidding. I'm messing with him.
I was totally kidding about that. Anyway, so yeah, I would, if you're ranking sins, then I'd put adultery as higher, but then of course people are like, well, it's a gay. So that's where again, I deviate from all of that, but that's not really the point of this whole thing. Gays can get married and so can straight people and all that kind of stuff, whatever you want to do. Fine with me. My point is, why is the government getting involved in this? Why do Lindsay, your side of the aisle, and I know you don't agree with this, but you guys want to force people to stay married, which is, to me, is like anti your positions on limited government. It's like government.
Yeah, I agree. Why do we want to force people to stay married if we don't want government involved in our personal relationships? Dan White made the comment, I'm with gay union, not marriage. The institution of marriage is supposed to be Bible-based. Well, then what do you think about the government being involved in a marriage and them having a say-so whether you can get a divorce or not? I've known a couple who the guy didn't want a divorce and the wife did, and then she met someone else. They weren't together, they were separated. She met someone else and wanted to marry this other person but couldn't do it because she couldn't get a divorce from the guy she was married to because he wouldn't agree to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's and countless stories like that. I've had recently certain friends I've talked to that were stuck because can't get the agreement. The only agreement should be, again, about support for minor children, what the court can decide,
or how to divide assets.
Yeah, and assets. So the this whole do I want to be married? No, I don't. So I should be able to leave. But no, you're making me like a slave, to a relationship. The government is forcing me to do that every time. And I see conservatives push this argument of making it harder to get divorced, which is just insane to me.
Well, I think the reason is because they want people to take marriage more seriously.
Well, that should be up to the individual person, though, not the government forcing you to take it more seriously.
I do think people automatically want to throw away a marriage when things don't go right for a minute instead of working on it and say, oh, well, there's always divorce. And I hate that that's at the forefront of everyone's minds when they get married. I do wish people would take it more seriously because it is a covenant to your spouse and to God and in front of.
Which has got nothing to do with the state, though.
I agree. I agree.
That's the thing. And so the argument to make it harder, they should take it serious themselves. If they didn't, that's their business. That is that person. I know you agree. I'm not arguing with you.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's their business that they decide they didn't want to take it seriously. It ain't my choice to tell them, hey man, you need to take your marriage more serious, or the government for that matter saying you need to take that marriage more serious. No, that ain't the government's job. The government's supposed to tell you what to act like in a personal relationship.
But they do. There are judges that demand you go to counseling and then you have to wait so many days. Even when you agree to it, you have to wait so many days in Mississippi. I think it's 60.
I think it's 60. Yeah, that's right.
But I don't. If they both agree they want out, why even? What's that 60 days for anyway?
I mean, people, and I know you're a big proponent of personal liberty. Your guys' organization, Moms for Liberty, and I mean, this is personal liberty. My liberty to not be with somebody if I don't choose not to do that. And so I just feel like it's like it's like conservatives will argue for all this personal liberty, but then when it comes to like personal matters, it's like, oh no, we got to put some restrictions on that. So
yeah, exactly.
anyway.
Well, we want to hear what you guys think. Call in and let us know. The number 601-879-0002. We got to take our first commercial break, but stay with us. We will be right back to hash this out even more. Stay with us. We will be right back to hash this out even more. Stay with us.
1039 WYAB.
Are you looking to get stronger, fitter, and push your limits? CrossFit Fondren is where Jackson trains. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned athlete, our expert coaches and supportive community will help you crush your goals. Join us for high-intensity workouts that build strength, endurance, and confidence. No gimmicks, just real results. Try your first class today for free. Visit us at CrossFitFondren.com or stop by the gym, 3002 North Mill Street in Jackson, in the heart of Fondren. I'm Shaun Yurtkaran, and I've spent nearly 20 years in the courtroom, first as a prosecutor in Hinds County, now fighting for my clients as a defense attorney. I know how the system works, and I know how to protect your rights. If you're facing criminal charges, don't wait. Call me at 601-862-1320 or visit me at onetextlaw.com. That's onetextlaw.com. Serious cases need serious defense. And remember, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. Let's get to work.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Money should never stand between you and your dreams.
So if there's a will, there's a way. I'm Corey Ravenstein.
And I'm John Ravenstein. You're going to love this. Right now at Juniker Jewelry Company, enjoy 3 years interest-free financing. You heard me right. That's 3 years, 36 months interest-free financing for qualified buyers.
Buy those gorgeous $10,000 diamond stud earrings she's always wanted from Juniker's and pay just $277 per month.
Buy a $5,000 natural diamond engagement ring for just $138 per month.
Buy that $3,000 diamond tennis bracelet for just $84 a month.
Whatever you want at Juniker Jewelry Company, just divide the number by 36, and that's your monthly payment.
Now you can give her the diamond she's always dreamed of.
Because right now, through the end of June, get 3 years, 36 months, interest-free.
Juniker Jewelry Company, Mississippi's direct diamond importer. 1485 Highland Colony Parkway, just south of 463 in Madison, and junikerjewelry.com.
An American home just doesn't seem complete without that flag hanging from the pole on the porch. And where do you get that flag? In Jackson, it's at a complete flag source. I-55 North. You'll find U.S. and Mississippi flags in all sizes. And yes, that new Mississippi flag is available along with international flags and all state and territorial flags. They can build your flagpole and repair that ragged old flag. It's at CompleteFlags.com. That's CompleteFlags.com.
Are you hosting an event? Let Burgers Blues Barbecue handle the food while you enjoy the moment. From an important lunch to a dreamy wedding, B3 Catering is sure to please everyone. Find Burgers Blues Barbecue online and click the catering tab or just give us a call. And when you're dining out, visit Burgers Blues Barbecue in Flowood, Brandon, or Madison for incredible plates served fresh daily. Burgers Blues Barbecue and B3 Catering, a delicious combination.
Pops Auto Sales on Highway 49 in Florence is where you come to buy quality cars, trucks, and SUVs. Priced to fit your budget. At Pops Auto, we specialize in trucks. From four-wheel drives to diesels, our satisfied repeat buyers know Pops has one of the largest truck inventories for any independent dealer, period. Browse Pops inventory at popsautosalesllc.com and get pre-approved for a zero down payment with approved credit. With warranties and service contracts available. Pops Auto Sales, your home for trucks. Highway 49 South in Florence.
Come together right now.
Welcome back into Crossing the Aisle with Shaun and Lindsey. So, Shaun, you just think people should get divorced whenever they want to?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, yes, I do. Absolutely. I think if you want to, I think our society is look, we live in a different world these days. And I'm not
Yeah,
saying
we
that
do.
I don't think marriage is a good thing. I think if it works for a couple, then it's a good thing.
Mhm.
But if it doesn't, which it seems like in over half the cases it does not, then it's a bad thing. So I just think everybody's saying, well, we got to promote marriage and is being a little bit like naive and thinking it's 1950.
Well, I
It's just not
almost
that
feel
world
like
anymore.
if you tell someone they can't get a divorce and they want out, it seems to me like that's going to breed violence, hostility,
Yeah.
murder attempts.
It happens
I
all
mean,
the
you know
time.
what I mean?
Women, I mean, people get right because they can't get out, so there's domestic violence situations constantly from that because they're mad that they're stuck into it. They want to, like, they're trapped, so they get emotionally wrecked and violence ensues. It happens quite often.
And nobody wants to feel trapped.
No, they don't. Now I did read some statistics that the divorce rate has actually declined in the last decade, which is a good thing, right? And the reasons being is they're saying people have waited to get older to get married instead of getting married so young, which increases your if you look by age and age of getting married, then your divorce rate obviously increases. Now, obviously, divorce rates increases if, like, the incident between, I looked at these numbers yesterday. So a first marriage has a 40 to 50% likelihood of failing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Second marriage is like 67%. And then a third marriage is like 82%, something crazy like that. So, I mean,
Why do you think that is?
I think, I think what I've read about second marriage is because a lot of times it involves blended families, which is difficult in itself. And so
Because you're older, so there's probably kids
there's
involved.
kids
Yeah.
and people are trying to blend families, and that causes issues because, not my dad, you're not my dad,
Mm-hmm.
all that, classic line. So that causes a lot of issues with those with second marriages and that kind of thing. That's kind of the primary reasons. I think blended families have something like a 75% failure rate, something like that. But because it's just difficult, when you're not somebody's biological parent. And then, like, their parent is, like, still alive. That's another thing. So, like, they're like, you got, like, a dad in the house, a stepdad, and then the real dad's picking the kids up and saying, don't listen to him, and I've heard a lot of friends
Mhm.
complain about this issue, like how it's a hard thing to deal with. So that's why I assume that's why those rates are so much higher than the first marriage. But that being said, the first marriage rate is still very high. I mean, we're talking about half of people that
Yeah.
will get married will get divorced. So we've got there's an obvious issue there. And I mean, to me, the answer isn't like, let's force those people to stay married. I mean, that's just stupid.
Well, when you look at, back in our parents' day and grandparents' day, they got married so young.
Right.
And what we know now is that the brain is not even fully formed. The synapses in the brain are not even closed and working completely until, in females, it's 21, 22. Males
Or
more
ever.
like,
No, I'm kidding.
so funny. And males, it's more like 25 because obviously females usually mature faster
Yeah,
than
we
males.
are. No, you're all kidding aside. Yes, you're correct. We take a lot longer to grow up than y'all do. That is 100% true.
So, I mean, I guess it's hard to throw someone into a marriage and hey, you got to go live in the real world and have a family and be a wife. And your brain's not even fully formed. I think people were getting married way too young before they even knew who they were.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even remember, like, being 18 anymore. I'm 45,
Yeah.
I'm 46 next month. And I'm like, I don't even really remember that. I mean, I remember it, but I can't imagine I've even thought of that getting married. Heck, it didn't work for me when I got married at 32 for the first time. But I mean, I definitely could imagine at that age it does. So yeah, I think that's, there is many statistics and charts on this about people that young getting married, and I think their divorce rate goes up even higher than the 50%.
You were telling me about someone, that you went to law school with, and he got married, and you were thinking he was your age or maybe a year older, or younger, and you're like, he's way too young to get married, and he was marrying a woman that had a kid, and you were like, he married this woman with all these kids. I was like, she only had one kid. What are you talking about? But in your mind, it was like,
well, I mean, I was like 24, 25
Yeah.
at the time, and I was like, it seemed at that time to me, I was like, wow, this is way too early for this kind of stuff. I guess, my perspective was different because, my schooling did take a lot longer. So I was still in that school mindset. Oh, I'm still in school. And I graduated law school when I was 25, almost 26. So, I mean, so I was in that school mind frame. So getting married at that point is like, are you kidding me? Like, people do that this young? And I'm like, but I mean, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that to do that. But they're saying now, I think the average age has gone over 30 to your first marriage is kind of what it is. I think it's around there. And that's caused, like, the generation younger than us to have a higher success rate than our generation, our parents' generation.
I was 30 when I got married.
31st. Okay. Yeah. I mean, so it's caused a higher success rate, or less failure rate. I mean, still high, but it's less than it was. I think we're down by like 2.2%, something like that. So the problem is, I mean, the facts are we're still having a huge problem with this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a million factors for it. I mean, the role of man and woman have just changed vastly since the 1950s. It's just a different world.
And also, when you're younger, you're not established in your career, so then money becomes an issue.
Yeah.
The financial problems,
Which is the number one reason for divorce, money. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
it's
Which made me think of my oldest daughter. Y'all, she's 15, and she's always said she wanted to be a cardiologist, a surgeon that does heart surgery. And maybe because of her little brother having open heart surgery at 5 months old. But she's here lately. She's like, but medical school is just going to take so long, and I want to make a lot of money. Hey, how long did it take Shaun to go to law school? And I just started laughing. It's like, you don't just go to law school and get out and start making lots of money. Not how it works, sweetheart.
Yeah, it takes a minute. It takes a lot of heartache and sweat and your boss trying to, indict you and
student loans and
student loans and crazy stuff like that. Good story. Will be another episode about that nonsense.
Dan said culture is the root issue of marriage failure, no matter the age.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's not necessarily wrong, but society's culture has changed. I mean, in the 50s, a guy got up and went to work, and a woman pretty much stayed home. The only two jobs women back then really could get were like teacher and nurse. Like there's like the two jobs that were primarily female dominated. So the world has changed in that regard, where women have achieved an equality status with men that didn't exist 50, 60, 70 years ago. And now there's great things about that, which I agree with. I think women are equal to men on all these, except for in sports. I mean,
don't go there.
But I mean, in terms of like intellectual capability and career wise,
maybe so. But I still feel like I'm old fashioned when I think a mom should be the one in the car rider line. A mom should be the one doing homework. A mom should be the one feeding the kids. I just think it's just the maternal instinct. I mean, I guess that I feel. I don't know.
I don't disagree. I think women are biologically engineered for that better than men are, for sure. I think that's true. And I think you're probably where you're going, like, where the problem is that now you got women that want to be career women because they're capable to do just as good or better, far better than men.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, like you just said, they advance at a younger age than men do.
Yeah.
Women are the ones in school actually being studious and doing the work. Guys are out there drinking on the weekends. I mean, that's just what we do. We're idiots. And
I'm so glad you realized that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that is factual. I think any guy can look at that, like, where women were taking their schoolwork a lot more seriously than we were. So they're capable. The problem I've seen with women, professional women over the years, is they still have that biological need to have children, be a mother, and all that stuff that women need to do, and I totally understand that. But then they want to balance the career and that, which you really can't. It's very difficult for people, and there's just like this big conflict within that. And I think that's where you have kind of a breakdown in our society.
Then you're always feeling guilty. Am I not giving my kids enough
Right.
time? Am I not giving my career enough time? But I want my career. But is it interfering with me as a mom? Yeah, I mean, it's the whole guilt, the mom guilt thing is very real.
Right. And so we've created the system where then you have that, and then like the guy is kind of treated as like, well, I'm like this equal parent, equal like professionally, and so the male role is different than it used to be, and it's just so the marriage just doesn't really fit within that new dynamic that we're living in.
And in this day and age, it's almost impossible to financially survive with just one parent working in the home, because you got to be able to make money to support your kids if you're going to have them.
Even though, I mean, I'll tell you this, Russ Latino had a chart up on Facebook about, we earn a lot more money now than we did in the 50s. Everybody kind of views the 50s as like, oh, everything's so great. And I mean, our houses are like twice as big. We have more cars, we have more stuff, we have more money. But also you can factor in that there are two people working, which is bringing in more income than did in the past. And things cost a lot more, obviously, and rate of inflation, those things. And also, I think there's another effect to that, where maybe in the 50s, like, you come to my house, was built in 1929. It's a 3-bedroom. Well, it's 2 bedrooms now, but at one time it was 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. And it's at 1,750 square feet. Well,
he also had like an outhouse in the back.
Well, yeah, that's another story. And then I researched throughout the history of people in my house, and this guy lived in my house in the 1950s, and he was a shoe salesman. He had 4 daughters and his wife in that house, but that was very common at that time, even though my house is not very large. It's not small, super small.
Well, I mean, I have 5 kids in a house that's very small, so
right, you do.
You have to make it work.
But most people right now, they were like, well, oh my God, well, if I was going to have 4 children and a wife, then I've got to have a house that's at least 3,000 square feet. That just be standard in today's world. You wouldn't live in a 1,750 square foot house. So they just may do with a lot less things than we make do with, in my opinion, and that we're accustomed to. Yeah, we're a much greedier society, and that's a big part of our problem, I think, is that we're very materialistic, and we've just we've replaced a lot of ethics and morals and good things with material goods,
right?
And
you always want to do more, always want to have more.
Yeah,
you're never satisfied, always want more, and then you see If
Social
someone's
media,
social
like,
media. Yeah, I mean, you
contributes to
see
that,
the
right?
land of I want to be smarter. I
Yeah.
want to be prettier. I want to be richer. You
Mhm.
always want what other people have when you're just seeing their highlight reel. You're just seeing the best of
100%.
them, but then it puts all this guilt and shame on you. Like, I've got to do better. I've got to do more.
That's true. Well, we're going to try to do better. We're going to go to a break where we're hoping our advertisers do better too because they're on the show. Thank you,
Yes,
guys.
absolutely. Yes. Thanks for everyone who advertises with us. We really appreciate you. And if you want to advertise with us, we do have spots for that. Just contact Shaun or myself and we will get you plugged in. But stay with us. We will be right back here on WYAB 103.9. .9.
Keep it tuned here to 103.9 WYAB.
Did you know that the average 6-room house collects 40 pounds of dust each year? Local business Pure Air Consultants duct cleaning service can rid your home of the dust, dirt, and debris that may be caught in your air ducts. They can eliminate the mold, fungi, and microbes that might be growing inside your ductwork and polluting the air you breathe in your home. Mention WYAB and receive a free UV light with system replacement. Visit online at mypureairconsultants.com. mypureairconsultants.com.
Nick Bain served Mississippi for over a decade in the State House. During that time, he fought for our children by protecting them against explicit materials pushed by the woke agenda. He protected taxpayers by streamlining government and helped create policies that have made Mississippi better. Nick and his team at Bain Bowen will use the same tenacity in helping you with all your legal matters. Call them today at 601-953-2994. Find Nick online at bainbowen.com. That's BAIN Bowen.com.
At Johnny's Pizza House, we consider our customers like family, so we spend the extra time needed to put more love into making our pizza. From our dough made fresh daily to fresh, never frozen ingredients, Johnny's Pizza House takes pride in knowing that what we serve our customers isn't just pizza. It's a slice of home in every single bite. Great traditions start with great food and great people. Start your tradition today with Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice.
Pure Air Consultants has always been your go-to for reliable and affordable heating and cooling systems, and now we are offering day and night brand to avoid the 25 to 30% increases that everyone is talking about. With day and night, Pure Air Consultants professionals can install a reliable system with a 10-year system warranty, and right now receive $20 off on service diagnostic fees. Call us today, 601-939-7420, mypureairconsultants.com.
CBS News Brief. Israel says it killed the man believed to be the head of the armed wing of Hamas, Mohammed Sinwar. CBS's Rami Inocencio reports.
He was the de facto leader of Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Known for his secretive nature, he was also known as the Shadow.
He was the younger brother of Yahya Sinwar, the Hamas leader who helped mastermind the October 7th attack. He was killed last year. President Trump said today he recently warned Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu against striking Iran.
I said, I don't think it's appropriate. We're having very good discussions with him. And I said, I don't think it's appropriate right now.
Correspondent Ian Lee in northern Arkansas, where they're searching the Ozark Mountains for an escaped killer and former police chief.
This is a town where people don't normally lock their doors. Everyone has their doors locked and everyone is armed.
Grant Harden escaped by impersonating a corrections officer. CBS News Brief, I'm Cammie McCormick.
Here's what they're saying about Corcoran Door Company.
I'm going to yell out to one of your sponsors here, Corcoran Door. When the guy came out here, instead of just trying to throw a door up, he was looking at the way the house was facing. Man, with this double garage here on the south side, you might want to consider a insulated door. I came in earlier today about 2:30. The car thermometer said 99 degrees. The thermometer inside the garage was 82.
That's why they've been around 50 years.
Yeah.
Corkanddoor.com. CORKERN door.com.
The Tri-County Academy Rebel success in the classroom and on the athletic stage begins with the Tri-County Academy Booster Club. Join the team and be a Rebel by getting involved and volunteering as a booster. Your involvement is the generator for fundraisers, facility upgrades, equipment, uniforms, and all other needs. Tri-County Athletics thrives in part because of our TCA boosters. Join today by calling the TCA main office at 601-879-8517 and help the Rebels continue the championship tradition.
Hey, this is Ben Ingram from the Braves Radio Network. We're in commercial right now, so I want to let my sister take over and tell you about Hometown Property Group.
Thanks, Ben. This is Mary Claire Putman with Hometown Property Group. Whether you're buying or selling, we are committed to guiding you through your real estate transaction with integrity, exceptional service, and remarkable results. Madison County has been my home for 40 years. I'd love to help make it yours too.
That's Hometown Property Group. Give them a call at 601-853-6080.
Green's Tire and Auto on Ridgewood Road in Ridgeland can do it all. Is your check engine light on? Take it to Green's. Air not blowing cold anymore? Take it to Green's. Squeaky brakes, bald tires, misaligned front end? Take it to Green's. Green's Tire and Auto can do it all. Your car can operate just like new again when you take it to Green's. Green's Tire and Auto, Ridgewood Road in Ridgeland. Take it to Green's. 601-957-0201.
Come together.
We are back here on WIB 103.9, Crossing the Aisle. So, Shaun, what is your day going to consist of? You're going to pardon anybody?
No, I'm not. But it's called the. Oh, you're talking about Trump pardoning the Chrisleys? Yeah, I mean, well, they're still married, so they made it through. They obviously were not incarcerated together. I don't know which federal.
Yeah, they haven't seen each other in I guess a couple years now.
I think Mr. Chrisley was probably okay with that though.
Well, I told you this story yesterday, so I have a funny story about that. Sarah Woods, who many of you know if you have been listening to WIB for a long time, she sent me a text one day, and this is several years ago, and it was a picture of him, Todd. Is his name Todd Chrisley?
Yeah, something like that.
And she said and then she had the fire emoji. Don't you think? And I was so confused, and I said, because I thought that meant you're hot.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I don't agree at all. I kind of thought he was gay. And she started laughing so hard and said, that meant flaming. So, yes, I mean, poor Todd Chrisley. I mean,
he might have liked prison. I don't know.
Oh, my.
Chokeway
might, too, when he gets there. Who knows?
I saw that. I was like, oh, okay. I said, well, I guess the Trump administration has changed its stance on its anti-LGBT initiatives, and now.
Okay, first of all, I don't believe they're anti-LGB. I think they're anti-T.
Or okay, well, they've changed course on their gay stuff. So like by pardoning when I saw Mr. Chrisley, I was like, okay. And I love gay people, got a ton of gay friends. This ain't a knock on that. I'm just saying there ain't no way that guy's straight. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. Anybody can look over there. So I was like, look, Trump's extending an olive branch to the gay community. That was
I don't know that that's what this is.
I think it is. I think it's like that, and maybe they donated some money. I don't know, but he's like, look, man, I like gay people too. I gave Mr. Chrisley a part. Now he's gonna go back to his wife, so he's probably really upset. Speaking of that, he's like, man, I had a good time in prison.
I'm not going to say that. That's not nice. But his daughter,
when it comes out that Chrisley is in like some, menage a trois with a bunch of dudes, let's not be shocked. That's all I'm saying.
Well, their daughter, Savannah Chrisley, campaigned for President Trump, and she spoke at the RNC. You watched it. You probably don't remember. I think you tried to block out as much of the RNC as you could. But she spoke there, and she was did a lot of campaigning for him, and is pretty big in the conservative realm. She thinks she has a podcast. And I think, Brett Favre campaigned for Donald Trump too. Didn't he come out with a statement the other day saying, that people are being
mean to him because he likes Trump, right?
Yeah, he likes Trump.
Well, hey, look, ChatGPT has explained to me about Mr. Chrisley's sexual status.
Okay, really? Well, tell me about it.
Todd Chrisley, star of the reality TV series Chrisley Knows Best, has consistently denied rumors regarding his sexual orientation. Shocking that he's had to deny these. During his 2022 federal fraud trial, his former business associate, Mark Braddock, testified that he and Chrisley had an intimate relationship in the early 2000s. And Chrisley, of course, tried to refute that. But anybody that's seen a picture of Mr. Chrisley knows that he is probably not being truthful about that. So
there's some people that say they had some sexual relations with your favorite President Barack Obama.
Yeah. Well, those ones I don't believe. This one I do believe, though. Chrisley addressed longstanding speculation about his sexuality, saying that he had found such rumors flattering and expressing support for the LGBTQ plus community. He emphasized that he doesn't believe being gay is a choice and that he is comfortable with who he is. Yeah, see, I mean, nothing wrong with him being gay. I'm just saying it's always funny to me when these like big Christian conservative stars come out.
But he's
and they're
married
like,
to a woman.
oh, that's
kids.
okay. Like that means that like
Well, obviously
historically,
he's
like,
had
that's
sex
never been.
with her at some point. They have children.
Oh, okay, Lindsay. Like, come on, Like, that's not a good excuse. Like he's married to a girl. How many gay dudes have been married to girls? Like tons of them, most of them. I mean, again, nothing wrong.
Well, I think that happens a lot, especially in the political circles, because if you are in a conservative
we know
state,
about I'm not going to reference somebody, but you know what I'm indicating.
Do I?
I mean, no, I'm not going to say it. So, well, there was a certain race here a couple years ago that there was some it's called some rumors.
Well, so just stop. There's several I could think of that could.
Oh, me too. I mean, totally. There's totally talking about like in like state politicians. Heck yeah. I mean, like they're not gonna. There's no way in Mississippi you come out and say like I'm gay and I'm like trying to get elected as a Republican. Like that would never happen. Though I would vote for that dude. I'd be like, dude, at least this dude's honest. I mean, instead of running the whole line of like, I love God, I hate gays, and I love Jesus 27% more than my opponent, or whatever.
They really might. You don't know.
What, they love Jesus 27% more
They
than
might.
their opponent? Yeah, I mean, maybe so. I'm just saying that that is very common for a gay man to be married to a woman. That's not the first time that's ever happened. And apparently Mr. Chrisley is. I'm not the first person to make this allegation or make this claim.
I think a lot of people.
Common.
I think a lot of people have thought that at some point, like something's a little.
So I commend President Trump for supporting the LG community. So LGB community, excuse me.
There you go. There you go.
I commend. Thank you, President Trump. That's really big of you to support them.
Although, if you go back and look at some interviews that President Trump did. After he was, or shortly before he was elected in 2016, or maybe shortly after, he did make some comments that if Caitlyn Jenner showed up at the White House, that he would allow her to use any restroom she wanted to, and he called her a she. And I'm like,
He did say he supported transgender restrooms back in 2016, right? With the Political article.
He also said, after that fact, later on when it started to become a real issue, especially post-COVID, he said that, nobody knew it was going to take this turn and become such an issue with kids. And I was so glad Shaun and I actually saw a transgender child the other day, and I was like, see, Shaun, it does happen right here in Mississippi.
Well, but wait a second. So you're saying that he changed his mind, huh? Like, so
he did. He changed his mind.
That's convenient. So like he was okay with it. Then he was like, nah, I guess everybody's against it, so I'm not going to be against it.
Well,
now.
I think he was okay with it when he thought people were being real with it. Like, I mean, this was someone, I guess he thought Caitlyn Jenner really did have this issue, and it was just a very, very small percentage. But when it started, people started pushing this on children and in schools and in sports and in public restrooms, I think it became more. He realized it was a bigger issue than he had originally thought.
And I've got the quote for you here. During his 2016 presidential campaign, Donald Trump expressed support for transgender individuals using the restroom that aligns with their gender identity. He stated, people go use the bathroom that they feel is appropriate, and mentioned that transgender individuals should use whatever bathroom they feel is appropriate. That's his quote from Politico.
Well, he does not feel that way anymore.
He's changed his mind. He's like, everybody's getting mad at me about that.
He's like, I need Moms for Liberty on my side. I cannot say that ever again.
That's what he decided. He was like, I'm pro-life. Like his whole career, he said he was pro-choice until he's like, hey, I gotta get those Christian people to vote for me. So pro-life.
Has he come out and said he's pro-life? Because I think he has said numerous times that he does not want a federal ban on abortion, and he is never going to seek that.
Yeah, well, I think in the debate he kind of waffled on that, but yeah, I mean, I think Trump is pro-choice, to be honest. I think he always said that for the 30 years before he was president, and he had to line the evangelicals on his side to kind of
You say you're pro-choice, sure, but you also disagree with killing a baby at 9 months.
Sure.
When you're
everybody's for limits is what you're saying. Yeah,
everybody has a different, idea of what pro-choice and pro-life means.
Right. I mean, my position is the Roe standard, the first trimester. I think after that, like, you don't really.
What did they call it back then? It was, what did they say?
What?
I can't remember the term they used back then. It was
viability.
No,
that was what the Supreme Court said. They used the term of viability.
I remember what I'm thinking of.
But yeah, that was in the Roe decision. Viability is what they used. So
Roe has been overturned.
Yes, it is. I'm just saying, but that's the Roe standard is what I agreed with. I think President Trump agreed with that too. Then he changed positions.
Whereas obviously I agree once the baby has a heartbeat. I mean, at conception, I believe that is a human.
Yeah, exactly. And then so so he was Donald was for the transgender bathrooms, Lindsay.
I know. I've called this out on my Facebook numerous times. You know this.
I mean, look, I think at his heart, Donald Trump is a socially liberal guy. Like he just is. Look at his lifestyle over the last 40 something years, 50 years. I mean, that's kind of who he is. And
but I'm not going to say that what he's doing now has my full support when it comes to the issues that I care so deeply about.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he's doing a great job.
That's the one thing I've said. He has done everything, whether you support him or not. He's done everything he said he was going to do. Like,
and
he's
I'm
not
highly,
not one of those. I mean, he's actually been one of the more honest politicians that I've ever seen.
I'm
in terms
so
of
highly
doing
impressed by that because
yeah.
he can't run again. So it's not like we could do anything if he lied to us about these issues and then went in and didn't do what he said he was going to do. So
No,
what?
I mean,
I can't run again. It doesn't matter. I don't care what you think. But yet he has done everything that he told us he was going to do. And I mean, that's how you win my vote of trust is when you keep your word.
He's not a liar. I'll give him that. I mean, whether you agree with his policies or not, this is what he said he was going to do, and he did it. I mean, so and I think he's also, and I've said this many times, and recently he talked about something I completely agreed with about making some prescription drug price parity with the most favored nations policy, making us, because everybody knows we pay so much for prescription drugs here in the United States as opposed to other nations, economically equal nations, and Trump has got some policies that were traditional Democrat policies that I agree with, that he's kind of moved the Republican Party into that sphere. I heard Josh Hawley on the morning shows this past weekend. He's a Republican senator out of Missouri. Talk about we got to save Medicaid because that's our voter base. We're talking about Republicans saying we've got to save Medicaid, and so the Republican Party has shifted on those fiscal issues, social, what we call safety net issues, those issues, more to the left than you'd realize under Donald Trump, which is really interesting to me, where the party has become that, because the Republicans now become the party of the working class, where that used to be the Democrats. Now the Democrats party of the elitists, which is like a flip.
You sent me a map the other day that the New York it was the New York Times put out, and it showed just how far the country has turned Republican. And there's just very, very small communities that seem to be moving more Democrat.
Yeah, that's right. Well, what Trump has done that no other politician has been able to do is he's picked up voter groups that were traditional Democrats, and I think there are a lot of the reasons he's been able to do that successfully is because his positions aren't traditional Republican positions, except for the social issues. Like somebody I heard on a podcast the other day, and I meant to tell you this, called it, they're the Democrats. The Republicans are Democrats now. They're just not woke. And I thought that was the best way I ever heard.
You tell me say that about me all the time. You say you're really a liberal, but it's just these
you're
issues.
Just not woke. Yeah, I mean, and I think Donald Trump is basically he's traditionally Democrat positions. He's just not woke. So, and that's kind of what they were talking about on there. And so he's been able to pick up scores of Hispanic voters, Black voters, working class voters that just all those were Democrat constituencies that have now shifted to him. Now, what remains to be seen whether this is a one-time phenomenon just because of who he is.
Well, because of who he was running against. And we had mush for brains for 4 years.
But even in 2016, he got a lot of those constituencies even then, not to the extent that he did in 2024, of course.
Yeah.
But it remains to see, are the Republicans going to be able to hold on to that after he's gone?
MAGA.
Well, we got to go to a break.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. MAGA.
Well, we got to go to a break.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
.1039 WYAB.
For decades, you've known the name Martin's for good times, great food, and the best live music. Now that's happening at 2 locations, downtown Jackson and Livingston. Check the websites, martinslivingstonms.com and martinsdowntownjxn.com for the many special events and live music lineups. You can chill with friends on the big patio at the Livingston location and enjoy the blue plate lunches and nightly drink specials. Martin's, downtown and Livingston.
If you want the best health care, where do you go? The Mayo Clinic. If you want the best care for your vehicle, where do you go? Mayo Auto Clinic in Raymond. Mayo Auto Clinic does foreign and domestic vehicles and diesel repair. Mayo Auto Clinic has ASE certified techs with over 25 years of experience. You can extend the life of your car or truck when you take it to Mayo Auto Clinic. For cost-effective repairs and maintenance, go to the best, Mayo Auto Clinic. Open weekdays at 7 a.m. Highway 18 in Raymond.
We all make plans for the future, but car accidents, break-ins, and unexpected fires can disrupt those plans. At Shelter Insurance, our local agents help you design insurance plans that protect what matters most. Shelter Insurance ranked #1 for auto insurance in the Forbes 2024 World's Best Insurance Companies survey.
Ask Jamie Creel about Shelter's auto, home, and life options.
Looking for the perfect spot to unwind with friends and family? El Patrio Mexican Restaurant is calling your name. With locations in Flowood and Cross Gates, Brandon, El Patrio is the cozy, family-owned gym where great food meets great times. Enjoy El Patrio's signature margaritas and happy hour specials that keep their customers coming back for more. Indulge in their authentic Mexican dishes prepared with love and served in a warm, family-friendly atmosphere. Come to El Patrio and taste the traditions. El Patrio, where family, flavor, and fun come together.
Antique Mall of the South has 14,000 square feet of pristine, clean floor space. Home to beautiful, timeless antique treasures. Antique Mall of the South is open Monday to Saturday, 10 to 5. Check them out online at antiquemallofthesouth.com or go to the Antique Mall of the South Facebook page. You can also read the dozens of 5-star reviews online. Come see for yourself at Antique Mall of the South in Ridgeland. Now open Monday to Saturday, 10 to 5. That's Antique Mall of the South, Highway 51 in Ridgeland.
If you're a parent or grandparent, you should know that even though Mississippi is ranked as the unhealthiest state in the country, we have the highest vaccination rate for our children and grandchildren. Many of us blindly trust the medical establishment, and now it's time to question vaccine safety. Mississippi Parents for Vaccine Rights is a grassroots organization working to educate the public and lawmakers about this important topic. Be informed. Go to mpvr.org. Like us on Facebook to stay up to date on the latest information. That's Mississippi Parents for Vaccine Rights, mpvr.org.
Dr. Bobby C. Pankey and Associates proudly welcome optometrists Mary Lou Puglisi and Dylan Pankey to their team of eye care professionals. Both shared Optical 2000's commitment to offering you and your family the highest quality eye care, blending state-of-the-art technology with personalized service. After your eye exam, step next door to the Optical Shop, which features select frames Gucci, Tom Ford, Calvin Klein, Lacoste, Maui Jim, Scott Harris, Michael Ryan, and others. Optical 2000 in Clinton and Richland.
Hey guys, this is Casey Ellis with Ellis Autoplex, located on Highway 471 in Brandon. Ellis Autoplex, known as Little Truck City, is your old school mom and pop style dealership that's family owned and operated. We specialize in 4-wheel drive trucks, but don't worry, we have cars and SUVs too. Looking to sell your vehicle? Bring it by Ellis Autoplex, where we pay fair market value and we cut you a check on the spot. Need your vehicle service or repair? We can handle that too. Shop us online or set your appointment at ellisautoplex.com. That's ellisautoplex.com.
Come together.
All right, we are back here to wrap up this Wednesday on this short week, and I'm hearing that they are expecting to vote on the budget this afternoon at
People
the
are
Capitol.
saying.
Word on the street is that they hope to finish, that they do think they will finish today, which I guess that means I'm not going to get any of my other issues coming out of special session.
It'll be a huge bill, I'm sure.
Huge,
And,
huge.
We'll see how they. At least we'll only have to pay them for this one day. So that'll be
That's
good.
true. That's true.
That'll save us some money. That'll be
And
good.
y'all don't want to miss next week because I have a feeling Shaun and I are really going to have to fight it out.
Next week is the Lindsay's favorite month of the year. It is Pride Month. Starts on Monday. Well, actually starts on Sunday.
You know, it may not be crossing the aisle with Shaun and Lindsay anymore. It may be cut Shaun's mic and camera if he decides to act a fool.
She's really mad because I got all these Pride shirts to wear like every day for the month of June, and she's like,
he keeps saying that he better not.
And you
'Cause
know,
they
and I'm
will not
going
be
to play
seen.
"It's Raining Men" to start. They're going to change the theme music for the whole month. That's
Okay,
it.
so now you've got The Boys Are Back in Town and It's Raining Men
It's
stuck in
Raining
your
Men
heads.
is
You're
getting
so
played.
welcome.
Is getting played every single day during
No,
the
it's
month of June,
not. No,
and
it's
it's gonna, and
What about
it's,
YMCA?
yeah, there's another one. But isn't that Trump song too?
He loves YMCA.
He loves YMCA. See, look, he pardoned Chrisley. He loves YMCA. Right? He's pro LGBT, whatever. So we're gonna play "Raining Men," and it'll be sponsored by the Kim Wade Show because we know how much she loves that. And we'll see.
Kim, don't you worry. Do not worry. I will cut that mic and that camera so fast.
Talking about nothing.
Not going to happen.
Talking about Pride. Lindsay's gonna go to her first drag buffet, so that'll be cool.
You're so full of it. Everybody knows that's not true. Everybody knows that's never
They
going to
got
happen.
a great one in Halloween. It's a lot of fun.
He thought it would be really funny one time to say that I was with him at some pride parade in Jackson. I was like, everybody that knows who I am knows that I'm not at that parade.
Well, I'll be holding it down strong for my.
I'm sure
my
you will.
friends in
I'm
the
sure
LGBT
you will,
community.
Shaun. It will not be happening here on this show, but stay with us next week. We'll be back.
Bye.